Good evening, everybody. It is Friday, November 11th, 2016. Welcome to a special edition of Newswatch. Now, this evening's broadcast is powered by the team at The New Political. The New Political covers politics at all levels and aims to make politics approachable. On tonight's show, we'll be talking to politicians and political reporters from around the globe, all to put some perspective on the road ahead. Because the polls are closed, but a can of uncertainty has been cracked wide open across the nation. Newswatch, powered by The New Political, starts right now.
Broadcasting live from WOUB TV in Athens, this is Newswatch.
Once again, good evening, everyone. I'm Bianca Hillier. Now, the art of politics is something many try to master, more try to critique, and even more try to analyze. Political cartoonists, though, have been capturing this art since 1754. Tonight, we carry on that tradition by welcoming artist Janine Shear to our studio. Janine will be working on a few pieces for us throughout the broadcast, and we'll be checking in with her throughout the show. First, though, we go to The New Political's Connor Perrett for results of local elections. Connor? And there he is.
First, the race for Ohio House's 94th district. Sarah Grace versus Jay Edwards. Republican Jay Edwards came out victorious with 58% of the vote. Now, it's not too surprising that he won.
And as he was saying, that Sarah Grace versus Jay Edwards, Republican Jay Edwards, did come out on top victorious with 58% of the vote. Now, that is not too surprising that he won, considering he won, although the incumbent Debbie Phillips is a Democrat. Democrats have not always served the 94th district. In fact, before Phillips took the seat in 2009, Republicans had it. But looking forward, Edwards says his time in the state house will be about more than partisanship.
I don't look at things from Democrat or Republican or taking over a seat. I look at it as we have to get a voice for Athens, for Meigs, for Washington, and for Vinton counties, the entire district, and make sure that they're able to talk to their state legislator, have a representation with their state legislator, and someone that can go to Columbus and be effective to fight for what they need.
For the race in Ohio Senate District 30, Republican Frank Hoagland ousted incumbent Democrat Lou Gentile. Gentile has served since 2011 when he was appointed by Senate Democrats and was elected in 2012. So it is a bit surprising to see him ousted from that position with more than 5% of the vote. There were 26 issues on the Athens County ballot, all but 2, an income tax for Alexander local schools and a bond issue and levy for Warren local schools. And now the people of Athens have a lot of opinions about all of this, and the New Political's Marianne Dodson goes out each week to hear exactly what they are. This week, Marianne asked Athens about some of the results from the general election. Marianne, what did Athens have to say?
Yes, Bianca, I spoke with some locals on how they felt about Republican Jay Edwards, who won the 94th district seat for the Ohio House of Representatives. He's a Nelsonville native, and his win meant something special to a lot of people in the district. Here's what Athens had to say about it.
I really felt like he had it here through all the work we'd done.
I think he just appeals in the same way to Americans that Trump did.
Regardless of Republican, Democrat, Jay really pushes to be by not really look at party lines.
To me, it's I think misogyny is being rubbed in our faces.
He wants to go right and wrong, not right and left.
Whether it's the House here or the White House in D.C. or whatever, people need to get together, come together for the good of everyone.
His best self will rise, and he will be able to work for the good of the people in this district.
That's what Athens had to say about the race for the 94th. We'll check back in later and show you how Athens felt about the new president-elect. Bianca, back to you.
Joining us now is a local reporter who has been covering the local, state, and national elections. Tyler Buchanan, editor of the Vinton County Courier. Tyler, thanks for being with us tonight.
Thanks so much, Bianca, for having me. Obviously a busy election. I'm with the Vinton County Courier and the Athens Messenger, and got to cover Bill and Hillary Clinton this year, and also traveled up to Steubenville area for Donald Trump. So it's been a busy election.
Busy man, busy time. So let's start out with the local election results. Grace versus Edwards. Were you surprised with the results?
I don't know that I was too terribly surprised. Obviously, with Donald Trump carrying Ohio as well as he did, a lot of the down ballot Republicans did really well. You mentioned the Hoagland race versus Gentile, and then, of course, with Edwards defeating Grace. Grace being in Athens County, Debbie Phillips is the outgoing representative there. Democrats usually do pretty well in Athens County, but with a lot of the other counties in that 94th district, Edwards carried them very handedly, Meigs County, Washington County. So I don't know that I was terribly surprised to see that Edwards carried it out with how well Trump did at the top of the ticket.
And with this campaign finance, quote-unquote, scandal that Sarah Grace faced in the last few weeks, do you think that affected why people did not vote for her?
I don't know that it affected it terribly much, only because it happened very late in the campaign cycle, late October. By that point, a lot of the absentee ballots have gone in, a lot of people that have early voted. And for people that haven't voted, a lot of them have just made up their minds by that point. So I don't know that it made a terribly big impression, but I'm sure if you ask the Grace campaign, no scandal in late October is ever good. So I don't know that it made it too big of a difference, though.
That infamous October surprise, as they call it. Well, regardless why she lost, Jay Edwards now holds the position. What do you think will be his first few steps in office?
Yeah, I think for a Republican coming in from Southeast Ohio in this 94th district, of course, the Republicans have a huge majority in the Ohio House of Representatives. They have, I think, 71 out of the 99 seats. So he's going to be one of many in that majority. And of course, though, with Southeast Ohio, there's not that many representatives from down here just because of population. So I think he's going to try to go up there as a first-term incumbent representative from Southeast Ohio, try to really push a lot of the issues that are big down here, energy, of course, being among them, jobs, economy, things like that. So to try to have that voice in Southeast Ohio that people down here are used to with Debbie Phillips, she's so vocal up there in Columbus, I think a lot of people are hoping Jay Edwards can be a vocal voice too.
Do you think he'll be able to pull through?
Yeah, I think so. I think most people know Jay Edwards to be a pretty tough guy, pretty strong guy, of course, that football background. So I think people are hoping that supported him. He'll have that same kind of background up in Columbus as well.
And what happens to Sarah Grace now? You know, she still has all of these plans and ideals that she held when she was running. Do you think she'll have a voice?
Yeah, I believe she'll be still pretty active in local politics, or at least just in local issues. Of course, we know her involvement with the PTO. Obviously, this campaign, her husband Todd is a local judge in town. People know her from that. She's still got the kids that are in the school district. So I think we can pretty much expect that she'll be some kind of voice. Whether it's an election or a politics, we'll have to see. But I have a feeling we haven't seen the last of Sarah Grace.
And now moving out to a national scale, media played a large role in this election, from social media to journalists like ourselves. How did you see it affecting the race?
Yeah, obviously, we've all been inundated with the Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton coverage throughout this campaign season, 2015 and 2016. So you have to imagine it made a huge difference there. But I would certainly hope, as a local reporter, print reporter, but of any kind in Southeast Ohio during this election, I hope that the media has made some kind of influence in educating readers and getting them up to speed on the election. I know I counted on Monday, the Messenger had written 87 stories just about the 2016 race alone, and that's with 10 races at the Athens County level that were unopposed. So that's just a lot of coverage, obviously, from the different media outlets, us included. I really hope that it did make an impact, so that's what we hope for.
All right, thanks so much for being here, Tyler. Thanks for your wisdom.
Thanks so much.
Okay. And these campaigns have cost more than a loss of sleep and sanity, though. They've also cost thousands of dollars. In the race to fill incumbent Debbie Phillips' seat in the Ohio State House, winner Jay Edwards spent about $75,000. Most of his donations were from individual citizens and were less than $1,000. His opponent, Democrat Sarah Grace, spent about $5,000 less than Edwards. In the race for U.S. Senate, Senator Rob Portman, who won his bid for re-election, spent nearly $20 million on his campaign. His opponent, former Ohio Governor Ted Strickland, spent around half of that. The amount of money spent on races at all levels of government and who it's coming from leaves some wondering if it's time to reform the system. Athens Democratic Party Chair John Hastley agrees.
I honestly fear for the way we go about elections until we can turn back Citizens United. But, you know, just with no ceiling and no limits on outside corporate spending in elections, it just seems it's going to destroy the process over time. And I think what we saw in Ohio with the spending in Ted Strickland's race is the beginning.
But more money doesn't always equal more votes, as we know. On the national level, Clinton spent almost $500 million on her campaign for the Oval Office, while President-elect Donald Trump spent a relatively small amount of about $250 million.
And from all that political out of the way, we're going to get into the football forecast. High school football across Ohio. It's full force into the second week of playoffs, whether you're in Cleveland, Columbus, and Cincinnati, and even Dayton. We'll have playoff forecast. Looks like 38 degrees, mostly clear skies across calm conditions. As you can see, overnight looks like 30 in the low 30s, upper 20s, chilly night. We've got to watch out for some patchy frost. Tomorrow looks a little warm, 50 degrees. And in the headlines, 50 degrees for tomorrow in Athens. Great day, sunny day. How about that?
All right, thanks, Matt. And there may not be rain in our future, but there were some political storms in the Ohio state elections this week. Connor Pratt is back with these results. Connor, sorry about those technical difficulties. We're glad to have you back on the desk.
I am glad to be here. All right, so the results of the state election, just like the ones of the local election, are unsurprising given the general direction of the national election. Portman won against Strickland in Ohio, which is what polling data suggests what would happen. In Athens County, though, Strickland got more votes than Portman. The Athens Democratic Party chairman says the future of the Democratic Party is going to be a work in progress.
I woke up this morning thinking about a labor activist by the name of Joe Hill who said, "Don't mourn, organize." And so I think it's incumbent on us to get to work and begin building for the future. And we can't just sit around and lick our wounds. We need to build on what we did in this election and get ready for future contests.
And finally, Bianca, the race in District 15 of the Senate between Stivers and Wharton. Unsurprisingly, Stivers, a Republican and incumbent, was the winner, so truly a very great election for the Republicans across the board.
Absolutely. We've seen that now at local, state, and obviously national levels. They really did take the sweep there. All right. Thanks so much, Connor. Appreciate it. And coming up next on this special edition of Newswatch, the New Political's Nate Doty breaks down the demographics behind the votes. Which groups did Clinton's team overaccount for, and who came out in droves for Trump? That story, plus I speak with political journalists across the country about what they've learned while covering this campaign.
Yeah, this was my fourth presidential election, and it's the first one where every day you could not predict what exactly was going to happen.
It's all here after the break on Newswatch, and look how far our cartoonist is coming along. Janine Shear over there will have updates on her drawings and more stories after the break.
University students really have a huge sense of pride in our campus, in our school, and in our education.
People don't come to Ohio just to go to college. They come here to become a Bobcat.
It's a really unique atmosphere.
Bobcat pride is having that natural camaraderie.
Bobcats are just happy to be Bobcats.
My favorite time of year at Ohio has to be homecoming.
When the alumni come back, you can see that the love of this university doesn't fade.
Once you're a Bobcat, you're always a Bobcat.
Hey Gridiron fans, it's time for you to vote for another Gridiron Glory Player of the Year. Will Dylan Dupler, Alex Mount, Justin Harvey, Isaac Huffman, or Clay Edler take the title this year? To cast your vote, all you have to do is go to woub.org/gridiron, scroll down the page and select one of the players, then click vote. Time is ticking away. Voting ends November 15th, so don't forget to vote for the guy who you think deserves the title. I'm your host, Danny Dean, reminding you that there is nothing better than Friday nights and Gridiron Glory.
My grandparents were colored. My parents were Negroes. And me, I'm black.
From I Have a Dream to I Can't Breathe. From Straight Outta Compton to the White House. Black history is American history.
You must not surrender. Keep hope alive.
Black America since MLK, and Still I Rise. Premieres November 15th, 8/7 Central, only on PBS.
PBS talked with Charlie Rose about his program, The Week.
It's about the experience we've had this week, looking at interviews we have done and say, what does it mean? And in a precise, finite way, answered that question. What's significant and what makes me better understand the world I live in? Hi, I'm Charlie Rose. Watch The Week.
Check your local listings.
Hey everyone, welcome back to the post-election Newswatch special. If you're just tuning in tonight, WAB has teamed up with the New Political to make sense of the 2016 election mess because the votes are in, but perhaps more questions remain than ever before. One of the questions the world is asking is, who are the 58 and 57 million people who voted for Trump and Clinton respectively? The New Political's Nate Doty is breaking down the voting demographics for us. Nate, which people came through for Trump and which came through for Clinton?
Bianca, exit polls across the country provide critical insight into how the nation voted. So, how did America vote in this year's election? When it came to gender, Clinton succeeded with women getting 54% of the vote to Trump's 42%. The voters' race also mattered. 58% of whites voted for Trump, whereas Clinton earned 88% of the black vote. It's also worth noting that whites are the only group where they went a majority for Trump. All right, so Clinton is also receiving 58% of the those with a study. So education is also very important when it comes to deciding who voted for who. So we have and it also showed that those with a higher level of education tended to do a lot better and for Clinton in the race. Finally, all across the country, a rural and urban divide could be seen. Trump managed to get 62% of small city or rural voters. Clinton did much better in cities with a population over 50,000, where she got 59% of city votes. Back to you, Bianca.
Thanks, Nate. And we talked to some people in those demographics right here in Southeast Ohio. Marianne Dodson now has more on her Ask Athens series.
Yes, Bianca, people in the area had a lot to say about the newly elected Donald Trump. Some were happy, others were sad, but most were hopeful that the nation would unite together going forward. Let's hear exactly what Athens had to say.
It made me feel amazing.
I was so happy I almost cried.
I feel heartbroken.
I didn't expect it to be that close. I was expecting Trump, absolutely. I've been behind Trump since the beginning, pretty much.
I didn't really believe it would happen. I've always had faith in the voters.
That's just so good to see that your hard work actually pays off.
It's not going to be easy, but it hasn't been easy since he entered the race.
I definitely think that we're going to have some problems with the LGBT community. Women's health is definitely going to be very affected by this.
It's hard for me to imagine what a Trump presidency is going to look like.
Just a really lot of bad things are going to happen.
People calm down and realize we need to come together as a nation and work together.
Concession speech, she really emphasized to give Trump a chance.
We just have to stick together. 4 years will pass and America's going to be right here where it's been the whole time, and we're just going to keep on keeping on.
All right, thanks, Marianne. As we can see, the crossover voters did play a significant role in the election this year. We spoke about this with WFMJ anchor Krista Lamandola up in Youngstown, Ohio. That region has been blue since 1972, but turned red on Tuesday. Lamandola says voters, though, significantly went after Trump and his stances as opposed to the GOP.
This is a blue-collar town. This is a big union town, and because of that, people really care about the economy. When Trump started talking about NAFTA, those trade deals really touch our community. It speaks to the people here. So ballparking, about 14,000 Democrats in Mahoning County, which is that county that traditionally votes Democrat, switched over. And every time we're asking people, why are you switching over? They're saying, it's for Trump. It's for Trump.
For Trump to pull through for those 58 million Americans who voted for him, though, Time Magazine's Washington correspondent says there's a specific, if somewhat unexpected, relationship that needs to happen.
Very tough to imagine Mr. Trump having success in Washington without some bipartisanship. He likes winning, and winning means you're going to have votes. The mathematical equation here is that he's not going to have support from some members of his own party, which means he's going to need Democratic votes. One option is he keeps the Obama people on, at least as a stopgap, that these are people who are keeping the trains running on time, and there's some value in having just some stability at a time of great instability in the world.
Elliott also said. Elliott also said covering Trump throughout his campaign was a unique experience as a reporter.
I think that a lot of Germans already thought that this was all a huge circus because it has been for the longest time.
On Newswatch.
The student body here at Ohio University absolutely is a family.
The students support one another.
You become this unit, this big, friendly family unit.
There's this connectedness.
You feel a part of something.
Driving in on the highway and just seeing the red bricks and the trees again, it's just like coming back home.
There's great students, great professors.
You just walk around campus and think, oh my gosh, I can't believe I go here.
I feel like I matter in the community, and I feel like I matter here at Ohio University.
It's home. Athens is home.
This is an animal with attitude. Honey badgers don't bluff.
He dug underneath the electric fence and went into the lines to fight them on purpose.
They may be the bravest act in the African bush. Some say they're also the smartest.
The intelligence is just beyond anything. He outwitted us each time.
They're masters of mayhem and capable of anything.
Hey Gridiron fans, it's time for you to vote for another Gridiron Glory Player of the Year. Will Dylan Dupler, Alex Mound, Justin Harvey, Isaac Huffman, or Clay Edler take the title this year? To cast your vote, all you have to do is go to woub.org/gridiron, scroll down the page and select one of the players, then click vote. Time is ticking away. Voting ends November 15th, so don't forget to vote for the guy who you think deserves the title. I'm your host, Danny Dean, reminding you that there is nothing better than Friday nights and Gridiron Glory.
And welcome back to Newswatch. President-elect Donald Trump will soon be the leader of our nation, and the whole world is taking notice, as Tuesday's results have already sent a shockwave around the globe. President Putin was the first international leader to speak out on the news. He sent Trump a telegram Wednesday morning congratulating him on his victory. Putin said he hoped for cooperation in ending a crisis in Russian-American relations. French President François Hollande congratulated Trump as well, but says the results do, quote, lead to uncertainty. And Chinese President Xi Jinping congratulated him via phone and later told state-run China Central Television that the two countries shoulder a special responsibility as the world's largest developed and developing nations. President-elect Donald Trump has also invited British Prime Minister Theresa May for a visit as soon as possible. May congratulated Trump in a phone call on Thursday for his presidential feat. May mentioned Trump's call for unity in his acceptance speech, where he promised to, quote, bind the wounds of division. The two share a desire to strengthen British and U.S. relations, including plans for bilateral trade and investment as the UK leaves the EU. Trump called the UK a, quote, very, very special place, agreeing to make the UK and U.S. relationship a top priority. And the nation whose lands borders our own, Mexican President Enrique Peña Nieto tweeted his congratulations to Trump in a string of posts. He said, quote, Mexico and the U.S. are friends, partners, and allies who should continue working for the competitiveness and development of North America. The pair met privately in August. The peso depreciated 13% in just 6 hours after Trump gave his acceptance speech. That's the most dramatic, quick fallout since Mexico's tequila crisis in 1994. And for some more international perspective, WOUB spoke to Rika Havertz of Zeta Online News in Germany. Havertz has been covering the 2016 presidential race for Germany from an Ohio standpoint and was in New York City on Tuesday as the results came in. She says the most difficult part of covering this election has been explaining Trump's unique ways to the German readers.
I think that a lot of Germans already thought that this was all a huge circus because it has been for the longest time. Even conservative people in Germany, that is not like conservatism here, and Donald Trump is not the Republican Party. I mean, that is something I try to explain to German readers, or we as journalists in Germany try to explain to readers that he is not the equivalent of the Republican Party.
Coming up next on Newswatch, we'll take a final look at your weekend weather forecast and check back in with Janine, our artist, to see how her artwork is coming. Stay tuned.
I knew that I wanted to come to Ohio University from the very first time I visited here.
There's something about the campus that grabs you.
It was really comforting.
Very welcoming.
It's one thing to write down your name and your GPA and that kind of stuff and send it in. It's another thing entirely to be here and see how great it is.
The campus here is just electric.
Absolutely gorgeous. Everything just looked really college-like.
I looked at my mom and I said, this is it. And she said, the tour's just started. I said, no, you don't understand. This is it.
Earth's amazing natural resources. We use them to build our civilization.
I love steel because it has really given us the structures that have changed this world around us.
But how will we power our future?
The magic of the desert, the sun, the sand. They produce a lot of energy and they can power a whole city.
The quest to fuel tomorrow. Treasures of the Earth on Nova.
Hey Gridiron fans, it's time for you to vote for another Gridiron Glory Player of the Year. Will Dylan Dupler, Alex Mount, Justin Harvey, Isaac Huffman, or Clay Edler take the title this year? To cast your vote, all you have to do is go to woub.org/gridiron, scroll down the page and select one of the players, then click vote. Time is ticking away. Voting ends November 15th, so don't forget to vote for the guy who you think deserves the title. I'm your host, Danny Dean, reminding you that there is nothing better than Friday nights and Gridiron Glory.
From the Newswatch Weather Center on the campus of Ohio University, I'm Matt Thickman. Here's that supermoon on Monday. If you need a little bit of fresh air after a long week, you might want to go out there. Check that moon out, 7:05 p.m. Brighter, 40% brighter than a normal full moon. That's Monday night, 7:05 p.m. High pressure will be dominating our region. Clear skies all weekend. Beautiful weekend, hour by hour for tomorrow. 32 by 8 a.m. Noon, 42. Hit that high of 50 degrees by 4 p.m. Taking a look at our temperatures across the region. Lower 50s to upper 40s in most of our regions. Have high school playoffs across our state of Ohio. 38 degrees. Clear skies tonight and tomorrow. We'll see those cool temperatures dominate our region. As you can see, it's by Saturday evening we have that patchy frost. Got to watch out for frost advisories. If you have any plants out there, bring those in before you go to bed Saturday. 50 for our high on Saturday, warming up nicely from 28 degrees to 57 on Sunday. Look at that, hour by hour. Here's that freeze. 38 by 8 p.m. tomorrow. 32 by midnight. By 4 a.m. on Sunday, there's that frost, and we got to watch out for those very, very beautiful plants. 28 degrees as we head into the morning hours. 50 by Saturday, 50 for our high on Saturday, 57 on Sunday. Beautiful weekend. Look at that. Don't have any chances of rain in our 7-day, but we warm up nicely in the lower 60s. Nice little fall seasonable weather for our area, but it's dry. Is it full? Bianca?
Okay, thanks, Matt. And before we go, let's take a look at what our political cartoonist Janine Shear has created during our show. All right, we have President-elect Trump over here and former Secretary of State Clinton. Janine, these are great.
Thank you.
Which politician is easier to draw and why?
Definitely Trump, because he's just a lot more animated and just has the certain characteristics that work really well. Clinton's a lot harder to draw, so.
Those big features make it more easy to draw.
Yeah.
And this is Sharpie?
Yeah, it's Sharpie and just regular pens with color.
Great. So, thanks so much for being here.
Thank you.
And that does it for our broadcast this evening. Thanks for watching this special edition of Newswatch, powered by The New Political. I'm Bianca Hillier. As always, you can find the latest local news anytime at woab.org, and we invite you to also visit thenewpolitical.com. Stay tuned for PBS NewsHour coming up next. Have a great weekend.